Perfect, and away we go. Hello and welcome to the NJ Podcast with myself, JMac Podcast. This week, I am absolutely delighted to be joined by former Cavan footballer Ronan Flanagan, and I think is it current or maybe semi-retired Cavan footballer Ronan.
Yeah, I'd say retired, John.
Oh, you're out the gap. You're out the gap.
Okay.
you don't long enough. Ronan, so how's things? You're how you finding the lockdown last couple of months? You're keeping busy, no doubt.
Yeah, I suppose we have the online teaching at the moment, so that keeps you busy. You're in live lessons, and then I have three little kids, so when I'm not live lessons, they're hanging out of me, or well, I'm probably trying to get away from them maybe more so. Um, but no, yeah, all great, definitely all busy. You don't get when they go to bed, I suppose it's time to relax maybe for an hour or so, and then I suppose you're looking to hit the hay yourself then.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose, like what way you can think in the things at the minute? Because I know like the return to playing bits and pieces, it's been delayed again, and I think the GA apparently is not going to be down as an elite sport, which is quite astonishing now because it's seen as it was last year. What's the verdict in that, Ronan? Or
Yeah, it's just disappointing, I suppose. At the back of it all, like everyone who plays is a supporter. So, I love watching Gaelic football. And long for it to come on the TV every weekend. So you're kind of supposed to live in to see those games at the weekend. It's just a pity that we don't have the GA now as an elite, branded as an elite sport. Um, because we suppose we were really lucky with Cavan and that they brought us brilliant success, and it was a brilliant journey. We were all kind of, I suppose, the winter was so short as a result of it.
yeah, like I think I don't think many people can really make sense of it. Why it's just been changed over, so everything just seems to be being made up as it's going along, unfortunately. But yeah, we can crack on with your football and days, I suppose, Ronan. You represented Cavan from 2004 to 2015, and yeah, look, I suppose I was talking to a few Cavan boys in recent weeks. Like we'd such good talent of players and bits and pieces over the years, and we just didn't, I suppose, get as many trophies as we probably would have liked. But how did you find playing for Cavan over the years, Ronan? Definitely part of a lot of good panel of players.
Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. I just loved, I suppose, the challenge of it, and you're always coming up against lads from other clubs who are, I suppose, your rival on one week, and then you come together to play against other counties then on different weeks. And I suppose the challenge of getting playing against the best teams from the country and best players from the country was great. I always loved it, absolutely loved it. I don't regret 1 minute of it. Um, as you said, unfortunately, we didn't have any success. But look, it's all about the journey. Sometimes you get success, sometimes you don't, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose with Cavan kind of squads over the years, like I'd always remark on it, like, geez, I'm watching so long at this stage, but like a lot of overturn of players in recent years, Ronan. And I suppose, okay, great to have success last year, but what did you say? Like, you definitely seen a lot of players kind of come and go in a bits and pieces, but you, what kind of did it disappoint you over the years to see such a kind of dropout rate of players, or could you understand their reasons for maybe quitting?
I suppose at the times everyone has their own reason, and it's I suppose with new managers coming in, I suppose that things change as well, and that probably to me is one of the biggest things that how often like if you keep changing your manager, then the panel will change. That you'll only have the same core kind of lads who will be there all the time, because every manager I suppose has different priorities, and some lads don't get on with certain managers, and that's just I suppose the way things are. Um, One good thing that I suppose that's come into Cavan is the introduction of a strength and conditioning coach, because at the moment now you can see that every county player who's representing Cavan is in brilliant condition, and it doesn't matter what manager comes in. If Mickey decides he wants to walk away, we still have that strength and conditioning coach, and that coach will continue to push our lads to get into the top level of strength and conditioning, which is
Yeah.
at the moment in GA is so important. You're going nowhere without it, really. Whereas in years gone by, it was every year was a different year, and you were starting fresh with the strength and conditioning coach. There was a new strength and conditioning coach year on year, new manager, no continuity. It definitely doesn't help things.
Yeah, geez, absolutely. And we did see a lot of kind of chopping and changing in recent years. And say maybe we can touch on your early years, 04, 05, and bits and pieces like that, 06. We did probably have a good league campaigns back then, and I suppose good, not too bad lots of championships, but it was just probably bad timing in the sense, Ronan, that we did probably come up against very good Tyrone, Armagh teams. Like, do you feel there could have been an Ulster Championship in them early years, or what was the verdict on that?
Um, Yeah, you always hoped, John. Armagh got us. I think was it 08? Was a good game in Breffni Park. They were at their, I suppose, at their heights at the time. Dolan was over then. Yeah, there was a few instances. The ones that really stick out to me, I suppose, were the later years. Maybe it was because I was getting a bit more kind of aware of my years were coming to an end. But 2013 and 2015 against Monaghan, when we lost both times by a single point, and then they go on to win the Ulster title. You're just thinking that was definitely a chance missed, a massive chance missed. Um, yeah, and we were in really good shape in those 2 years. In the early years, yeah, we were in good shape too, I suppose at times, but we just never it never clicked in that we felt like we were going to actually go and win an Ulster title. We did very well in the league, but I definitely would have felt in 2013-15 that we were ready to win one. We just didn't go about doing it, but we definitely felt like we were ready to do it.
Yeah, and
And that was
definitely, I think.
Terry, I suppose, with a bit of continuity in those years, definitely helped.
Yeah, yeah, just probably the latter end of your career. Geez, we were thereabouts, and I suppose Mr. Versatile, I think, would be the best way to describe it. Ronan, geez, yeah, you'd find a cornerback, wing forward, full forward. What was your favourite position over the years, Ronan? Because I definitely couldn't have put you down for any particular position because you're very good at each one, really.
I don't know about very good each one now, but I definitely try my best at wherever I'm put. And look at it, that kind of, I suppose, it can be a positive and a negative. You're put wherever there's kind of a hole, and it doesn't matter for club or for DCU or for Cavan. You kind of just filled wherever gap was needed. But preferentially, I suppose either centre half back or full forward would be, or centre half forward. Any of those three positions, I would have really enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah, and I suppose like everyone kind of remarks on it, like, and I know, okay, the league is good, and we enjoy it, and it keeps you fit. But how special is the Ulster Championship playing, Ronan? Because like it's hard to beat, really. Sun shining, it's coming up to the weekend, and you definitely would have enjoyed it over the years, I'd say.
Ah, yeah, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And look at John. To be honest, every league game I really really enjoy too.
Yeah,
I know it might sound a bit crazy going out in the bad weather, but yeah, it was an honour to put on the Cavan jersey. And I suppose when you're growing up and you're going to support Cavan, as you said, on those lovely sunny days in Clonus, you're just dreaming of getting the chance yourself to be able to do the same. So every time I put it on, I felt I was lucky to get it, and just did it as best I can, I suppose.
yeah. And I suppose looking back at the early years, and suppose touching on to maybe 08, 09 and bits and pieces, like what did you make of the kind of standard and quality of football then? Because I feel from watching it, it was definitely very open. Teams did take a chance. There wasn't that many blankets compared to now. Like, did you enjoy playing back in, say, the early days, Ronan, or what did you make of it?
Yeah, sure. Look, I suppose when I started, the lads who were kind of coming to the end of their careers, they never would have seen a weight or the inside of a gym. It was totally different. We were just going and playing. There was no emphasis really on the strength and conditioning side of things. It was only starting to come around. Um, so yeah, it was pure football in essence, and you went out and you played your game, and I suppose you did your best. And then 20 kind of 10, 11, when Donegal started to change the tact, everyone kind of followed suit, and it got
Yeah.
much more tactical. You seen Cavan at 21s, and they had a brilliant from Joe in Kingsford. Joe
McCarthy?
Joe
No.
McCarthy, sorry,
Yeah.
poor Joe, or S and P's Joe. Yeah, he did a brilliant job with Terry and Peter Riley and all those lads, Anthony Ford, and everyone was tactically aware of what their job was and their role was within the team, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the way football went from, I suppose, the early 2010, 2011, right the way up, and even now, everyone still knows their specific role. It's gone very, very much in that sense. It's not pretty much open football and go out and see how you get on, which it was when I started. Um, and I appreciate both. I suppose it's nice to be able to play open football and not have to worry about all these tactics, but at the same time, it's nice to be involved in a team that has where you have a job, and everyone has their jobs and everyone knows their roles, and it's very organized. I like that side of things.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel you touched on Terry's kind of Terry's involvement in the management team with Cavan, and I think it was a 13 and 14. They were good years, Ronan, I suppose, looking back. And I think 2013, geez, I remember so vividly. Like, it was a great summer football. I can remember that game up in Celtic Park when I think it was a DJ kicked the equaliser and bits and pieces. Just such good times, and it's such a pity from that summer we didn't get something out of it. If you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, it was. It was really, really good. Great times. As I said, that was a great group and a great management group, and everyone gelled really well, really, really well together. And as I said, the bit of continuity really, really helped then, because Terry had been in since Val Anders had left. I think that was 20, maybe 11 or 12, maybe 12 it was. And he gone through with them 21s, and I suppose there was loads of continuity, and things felt like they were going in the right direction for the first time probably in a long time. So 2013, yeah, it was. I remember chasing Rory Began around, and he took about 10 steps, and he still didn't get called for it. But yeah, those are unfortunately the nightmares you have. That we left it behind us really in Clonus, I think, that day.
Yeah, geez, I can remember that well. But I think Toasty Clark had a real decision along the line as well. So there was probably two dubious decisions in that game. But 2013, Ronan, I think I was watching during it is lockdown. I was watching a couple of months ago that Fermanagh game down in Brewster Park, geez, I think Martin Dunn, but the boys had great games that day. But I think that was from 1 to 15. We actually had such a strong team, and do you think there was an Ulster Championship in us that year? I know you're alluding to that Monaghan game, probably did leave behind us, but if we did get to the final that year, you probably could have gave Donegal a good run for their money, I suppose.
Yeah. I felt both years, 2013 and 15, that we were right there. We felt we had it in us to go and do something. As I said, it probably came with the continuity, and we felt that we were building on year. Whereas the early years, it's not that we had brilliant players in the early years too. But it's just the lack of continuity didn't help in that. As you said, different lads were chopping and changing, coming in and out. Yeah. And you never had the same management team. You never had the same kind of idea. It's really important that the same group, and Monaghan have showed this, that the same group stay together, and ideally the same management team, because you're building all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's something I'd remark on, because from that 2013 panel, I know everything changed and it's a couple of years ago now, but I think the only survivor from that team is Jason McLaughlin. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I think, as you say, continuity in the last couple of years.
Killian's still there, Killian Clark, isn't he?
Killian Clark as well, of course, yeah. So that what are we talking? 13 players lost, and you probably have the bench gone as well. If you look around at any other county, I don't think you'd see that turnover of players. I know we have touched on it, but what do you think maybe what has been wrong in Cavan over the years, that there has been so many lads going off, or what's the opinion on that? Or
well, I definitely think success will help things. So it's about getting success and showing that you are at that top table or very, very close to it. And I think when you have that, then all players will want to be involved. And I imagine Mickey Graham's phone is fairly hopping from lads who've maybe just pulled away slightly in the last 12 months or 8 months or whatever. Feeling, oh man, I let that slip. I missed out on an Ulster title, and I think that the Ulster title this year will really, really help Cavan going forward, because all the lads now will really, really want to be involved and want to push on and try and get another one now that they know it's actually possible. I don't know. There was a group of us there for a while, and I felt it was the same kind of group, probably for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And it just didn't come around for us. I don't know, maybe there was one or two lads chopping and changing, but all in all, I think there was a core of us there who really, I suppose, in that Terry era, we felt that we were going places, but it just didn't come around, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I definitely know when being a supporter for so many years at this stage, and you from being a player, you hear from the stands, and in fairness, Cavan supporters are actually very. Suppose they're very we demand a lot, essentially, and I think we need to be realistic at a lot of the times, because some of the picks over the years, and what we were competing against was definitely there. But do you think, say, the supporters and maybe bits and pieces has a big say, or maybe players can opt out, or what's the opinion on that? Kind of getting pressure from supporters or bits and pieces?
I don't know, John. I never. I suppose maybe I'd be very strong-willed and strong-minded. It wouldn't really matter what people would kind of say. I'd be kind of looking to prove them wrong. I can't speak for anyone else. It definitely didn't affect me. I just felt that I was privileged to be there and to be in that position that I actually could play for Cavan. So I don't know. I can't really answer that question for you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's just definitely because I'm talking the last bit, so we're coming up with all the different permutations over the years of Cavan football over the years, but you could be here all night about it. But I think when you could touch back in 2013, Ronan, and I suppose, look, we had a great run through qualifiers and bits and pieces, but that game against Kerry, that was an extremely strong Kerry team and probably some of the best footballers of our lifetimes playing that day. What was it like to kind of come up against that Kerry team and even the week leading up to it?
Yeah, it was exciting. It was brilliant. I suppose it was the first time that we had got to the big stage and going to, I suppose, Croke Park again after playing against London in the round previous to it. It was brilliant, yeah. I suppose in hindsight, looking back, we changed our tactics a little bit in the first half, and we gave them too much respect. If we're being honest about it, we went with 2 sweepers when we had never done that. We'd always worked with 1, and I suppose they just pinned us then because we had no real out. We struggled to get the ball to our half forward line as a result of it because we didn't have Keane was dropping and Martin Riley, actually, he's another man who was played in 2013. They would typically, that was their game. They kind of dropped and they worked the ball up, and Niall McDermott would have been the outlet for us as a pass. But Niall didn't start that day, and we played with 2 sweepers. And with the result, then I remember Donaghy and a few of them in our half back line, kind of just putting us under unbelievable pressure. And you never had that kick ball forward. In the second half, when Niall came on, we definitely improved, and we kind of got back to, I suppose, what we were doing in previous games. And that's the learning you get from it. But I suppose you have to build on that then to get back to that top table again and I suppose test yourself, knowing that you need to have certain things in your locker to be able to compete against them.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, it's everyone's dream to really play on the surface and witness it and see it. And I know everyone's probably getting the chance to maybe go and watch games Croke Park, but what's it like to play on Croke or Ronan? Like, it just looks like an absolute fortress. Like, I think I've walked on it once or twice. It's a carpet. Like, what even experienced that? What was it like?
Yeah, the first time was back in the early days when we played against Roscommon in the league semi-final. Yeah, and I remember thinking, whoa, this is big.
Yeah.
A forward's dream, really, to be honest, because you just, especially when you're young, and you could run anywhere you wanted. You always felt like there was loads of space. And in the latter years, I suppose in 2013, we got there against London and Kerry, maybe it was me, but we were a different group then. I suppose we weren't focusing on playing at Croke Park. We were kind of focusing on our jobs and making sure that we were doing what we were told. And it was different. Yeah, it was, again, as you said, in 07 against Roscommon, it was just go out and play. And it was very much whoever scores the most will win the game. And so with that, you have loads of space. But it definitely changed in 2013. I suppose the defensive football had come into it. And even London, it didn't feel like there was like acres and acres of space, even though there probably was. But I suppose they were organised too. It wasn't just the Ulster teams.
Yeah, and like you definitely seen a lot of football over the years for Cavan, and like you've seen a lot of chopping and change, and like styles of play, management, everything. You've seen it all really. What you see when maybe we're coming good, maybe 2013 to 2014. What do you think changed, Ronan? Because I suppose we weren't that successful up until that, but like it was just the under-21, the kind of fresher days from that, or like it was just a mentality switch, even, Ronan.
Yeah, I think a lot of it would be a mentality switch. Everyone had bought into the fact that you needed to do strength and conditioning. That was the first thing. And Terry, he made sure that you did it because you had to be at your strength and conditioning sessions. And he was there, and Anthony was there, and obviously the strength and conditioning coach was there at the time. And it meant that every single person, not just a few of us who always did it, even though it wouldn't show on me now, but like everybody was buying into it. So it meant that even the strong lad who thought he was strong was getting stronger and getting faster and getting fitter and getting more powerful. And that's why I emphasised earlier that position that Andre Quinn has at the moment. I think it's invaluable for Cavan. Because you look at the Dubs and the really big teams, especially Dublin, their strength and conditioning is off the charts. It's firstly you have to be able to compete with them that level, and at the moment not very many can. Maybe Mayo can, and then you have to be able to play football with them as well. So that's where you need to get to. It's gone very professional in that sense, and Terry, I suppose, started that, and it's a mentality thing really. It's making sure making everybody accountable for the off the pitch, which we would have had off the pitch conditioning sessions, but not everyone, as I said, might have done them.
Yeah, and tell me about Terry Hyland as well, Ronan, because look, he definitely installed probably a winning culture and definitely the underage scene in Cavan and tried to bring it on to the senior team and for as best as he possibly could as well. And you know, what kind of impact did he have on you, the group, and probably Cavan football as a whole, Ronan?
Yeah, I would just say the change of mentality really. Sorry, John. And every man felt like they had a chance. So when you were in on the panel, I don't think I've ever remembered Terry dropping anybody. So you were always there. Once you got in, you were there, and you just had to prove yourself once you were in there. If you were working hard, and if you were, I suppose, putting in the effort in the training sessions and performing on the training pitch, then you got your opportunity with Terry, and that's the way he worked. And if you didn't, and you went and talked to him, it wouldn't be a case of he'd say, "Oh, I don't, you're surplus to requirements" or anything like that. It would never be that. It would be, how can I improve? And that's a big change to know that if you're in there, that the manager actually wants you to improve, even if you're not playing. And Terry, I suppose, as you said, changed the mentality of Cavan football in that he was building players all the time. Even with the under-21s, he always brought 3 or 4 lads who were 19, maybe 18, and you're building those lads to get to the level that they need to get at when it's their turn. And that's just a mentality shift, really.
Yeah, and like a lot of people would have remarked on, say, the under-21 success over the years and 4 in a row and all this kind of crack, and probably didn't see a whole pile of players from it, unfortunately. And it would have been great if some of the lads kind of did buy into it or whatever kind of happened. Do you feel that maybe, I don't know, whatever the case might have been, do you feel maybe if more of the under-21 boys maybe did buy in over the years, because I think that whole kind of crop's really gone at this stage. Do you feel if more of them did buy in, we would have been that bit more successful, or were we?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd agree with you there, John, because you look at, you have Groge, you have Niall McDermott, you have Killian Clark, you have Darren McVitie, you have Niall Murray. You had loads of players who actually have been there and who are still there, to be fair to them, pushing things along. Conor Moyna, they all played under 21 and all were successful at under 21 level. I think that that group, and with Terry and Joe McCarthy and Anthony Ford and Peter Wright, all those kind of lads who were in the 21s at that time, they really helped to change the mentality. And they did come in, and unfortunately we just weren't successful. Like in 2013, it was those under 21 lads, and 2015, who were with us, kind of senior core lads, pushing the whole thing along. And they, I'd say, no more than we felt that we missed an opportunity at that time. And just delighted that eventually those lads, some of them got over the line now, because the more than us and the lads who've gone in the past, they've put in serious effort. And it's not for the lack of effort, and it never has been, to be fair. It's just about getting across the line, really.
Yeah, true enough. And I suppose the latter end of your career, I suppose you're talking that you finished up playing for Cavan, and he was at 2015. Ronan, did you just feel you had enough at that stage, or did you have other life commitments going on, or?
Yeah, I suppose things had changed. I had surgery back in 2013 for an issue that I had, and I actually missed the 20. Well, I played a little bit of 2014 league after I came back from the surgery, and I had planned after that. Kind of what gives you a new kind of perspective in life. That I would head away so we went to Australia in 2014, and I got engaged, and then came back. And coming back, I was thinking I want to get back to the level I was at. I want to be able to say that it didn't stop me. So yeah, I went back to training in 2014, going in 2015, and as I said, we had a brilliant year, absolutely brilliant year. Unfortunately, things didn't go well against Monaghan. But I knew going into it that this was it. I'd given it my 10 years. It was time for, I suppose, a new chapter. Castlerahan maybe was kind of in the back of my thoughts, thinking that we might have missed out on an opportunity with them as well. So I knew that 2015, I known from the start that was going to be it. So I don't know. I just had it in my head that I had my 10 years done, and I was ready to step away, hoping that I'd bring an Ulster title with me in 2015, but it just didn't come to pass.
Yeah, seriously strong Monaghan team that year as well. And I suppose it was 2014, the year after 2013, that big long run that we had, and I think we got to a league final against Roscommon, and I suppose we probably not talking about the Armagh game, the Ulster Championship, but what did you make of 2014, Ronan? Because I feel that, again, seriously strong team. Everyone was at the peak of their powers. Could we went on another journey again? I suppose if that little blip didn't happen against Armagh, I suppose.
Yeah, and I suppose looking back, I'd say Terry's disappointed with 2014 because 2013 was so good, and even the league, as you said, in 2014 was really good. It was probably a blip against Roscommon in that we raced into a lead, and we probably should have won that day, really. But then the Armagh game, yeah, I was, I said, I only played the league that year because I was going to Australia for the summer, but I was in the athletic grounds, and I don't know, I suppose that the row maybe changed things, and
Yeah.
it still stifled us, I suppose, a small, but we never really got going that day after it. Yeah, which is, as you said, disappointing because 2013 was so good.
Yeah, definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt. And yeah, like, and I suppose we can touch on to your college days as well, Ronan. You're a part of seriously strong DCU teams, and you have two Sigerson medals in your back pocket as well. And let's even touch on 2006 because, like, I've seen pictures in recent weeks of like what kind of a crop of team you had. And yeah, you're talking Shine Johnson, Craig Broken, Conor Mortimer. Like, how that definitely brought you on as a footballer to be part of that '06 just group of, I suppose, legends, really.
Yeah, I started in 2006, and it was just, I was playing fresher football, and as you do, and then the Burren Cup came around, and they asked me to go to play a game against Carlow. So I went and played, and thought kind of nothing of it. Just thought maybe they were missing a few or whatever. Didn't ask any questions really. Played the game, and yeah, it's from that point then I just kind of retained my position as more than what you said there. It was kind of like a crop of brilliant players, and you never felt like, especially the fresher, that you're going to be playing alongside them. So it was just nice to get in and get playing, and supposed to retain your position for the Sigerson.
Yeah, and that first win in 2006 that you had, like, who would you came up against in the final? How good of a competition was Sixton back then as well? Because like, with that being like a part of an unbelievable DCU team, which it was, you're definitely coming up against some seriously good college teams as well.
Yeah, the college football is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and brilliant fun, brilliant crack. Um, yeah, who did we come up against? Queens in the final. We were managed by James McCartan from Down. Who would have been playing that day? Charlie Vernon was marking me from Armagh. Trying to think who else would have been playing. You would have had Dan McCartan from Down. You would have had the other McCartan, the forward. Is it, what do you call him? I think his name. You have Brian Mallon from Armagh. Off the top of my head, I can't actually think who was. Peter Turley from Down. Just a load of, I suppose, down in Armagh kind of lads that I can mainly remember, and yeah, that played with them. But there's probably other counties there as well. Then UCC were in the semi-final. Yeah, you wouldn't typically you wouldn't know, I suppose, that many of the Cork lads, but some of the bigger names would have been playing for them as well.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And like in 2010, you picked up another Sigerson medal, and I think that probably would have been maybe your last year of college football, Ronan, was it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so again, it was like a team who'd been building from 2006, 2007, right the way up,
Yeah,
and probably were unsuccessful in the sense that we didn't win any other Sigersons
yeah,
in the meantime between 2006 was TCU's first ever Sigerson, and
yeah,
then you kind of thought, okay, well, this kind of football academy is starting now, and we're going to start winning a few of them, but
yeah,
just come that easily, no more than an ulster championship or a senior championship with a club or whatever you're talking about. You have to
yeah,
work really, really hard to get them. And it took, I suppose, 3 years of work to get us back to that position where we were ready to win one. And again, we'd a really, really good team, but a really, really hard working team. And that was probably the biggest thing. No more than 2006, we were really, really hard working. They even had to pull Bernard Brogan out of the full forward line and put him into the half, trying to make him work and stop shooting. But now it was all based on hard work. No more than everything, really. I suppose you have to work hard to be successful.
yeah. I'm sure maybe you got Jelly to pass the ball as well, but but what was I going to say? Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And how did you find going back? Like, you definitely would have juggled the Cavan and Castlebranhan and DCU kind of thing, and that's obviously a very pretty hard thing to do. How did you find doing that over the years, Ronan? Because at the end of the day, that's a serious commitment.
Yeah, and it was hard, to be honest with you. I remember playing my first ever fresher game with DCU, and Dermot McCabe then picked me up. I was only finished it within the hour, and picked me up, and I sat in the back of his Jeep on the way down to Longford to play against Longford in the challenge. So two games in less than 3 hours or 4 hours. Um, that was, and then I suppose then with DCU in that same year, I played the Burn Cup against Wicklow on a Saturday night, the full game, and then went out against Armagh the next morning and played the full game again. So you weren't really juggling. You had to look after yourself, and you only learned that after a while. I was new to, I suppose, to both scenarios and just so eager to play. And everything's great when you're injury free. It's when you start getting injuries and you realize that it's actually your body that's been put through the mill, and that managers, I suppose, don't really care that much. They just want to win, and that's just, I suppose, the way it is. You have to learn to look after yourself, really. As I suppose, as I said, the strength and conditioning coach, he wouldn't let that happen now. Like that just would not happen. And you need somebody who's in control of those kind of things, who monitors player, I suppose, welfare and burnout and all those kind of small issues that you have.
Yeah, like it's funny you touch on that, because like I was talking to Paul Herty there, and he was kind of saying he doesn't really go along with the whole burnout issue, and he'd be kind of like annoyed with kind of players saying that. But look at Ronan, you're after saying all that bits and pieces, and you're going from games, playing a game on Tuesday, a game on a Thursday, and like from outside looking in, that is kind of bonkers. But did you enjoy that at the time?
Loved it, absolutely loved it, and I wouldn't change it. Like, I suppose if I had a strength and conditioning coach there and he was saying to me, "You're not allowed to play," I'd be thinking, "Ah, Jesus, I want to play. I'm fine." Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. Obviously, coming the last 15, 20 minutes of the second game, you weren't fit to do too much, but no, I did love it. I definitely loved it, and it was at that age you're fine. It suppose it builds up on you. In 2010, I remember we played the whole league. Val Andrews was over us, and we're after whatever system he had going in the gym. It was pretty much lift as much as you can and as often as you can. So everything was going grand, and we played all the games. And next thing you know, bang! I played the last league game, I think it was, and my groin starts to hurt me, and I have osteitis pubis out of nowhere. Like, I'm like, how did that come around? And they all say that it's from overuse and from excess stress. So it was obviously a combination of crazy lifting when I wasn't, like, I'm only a small little fella. Like, how much can you really lift at my size? Between lifting, I suppose, and playing and training so regularly that I ended up just breaking down, and I missed that 2010 championship as a result of it. With Cavan, I ended up being sidelined. I had come on against Longford, I think it was, in the back door, but I actually missed the first round against Donegal because of my groin. And since that, I've had to manage my groin. So it's all well and good when things are going well, but you still have to be able to, I suppose, mind your body, because you only have one of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's fair play. Like, you loved it, but then you're getting the injuries from it as well, and that's probably the unfortunate bit of it. But look, we can touch on your club there as well, Castlereagh. Like, in the last couple of years, you've been extremely successful. Donal Keogan's won back-to-back championship witches as well. So, how special of a club is it up there in Ballyjim Stuff, Ronan?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I was lucky enough, I suppose, in my younger years to grow up and to be successful at all the age groups in Division 1. Just came across a really strong crop of players kind of at once. And that, I suppose, has been the backbone of the senior Castlereagh team for years. But then we've built on it, younger lads coming on to it. And again, it's standard based, to be honest with you. It's us meeting standards and demanding off each other. And it took years, as you've seen and as everybody's seen, to get to actually winning the senior championship, but it was hard work. Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. It was making sure that we were all doing our gym sessions and all training hard and putting in our runs. And I suppose Donal then got the magic formula together and just got us over the line.
Yeah, and like, definitely over the years, you were always thereabouts. And I suppose the glory year came in 2018, and I suppose Cavan Gales had you in 2017. But kind of club championship in Cavan club ball over the years, Ronan. And I suppose obviously a good club championship always, well, fingers crossed, leads to a good county team. But how did you find playing in the? You were always senior, so how did you kind of find the Cavan club championship over the years, Ronan?
Yeah, I suppose in my early years it was Cavan Gales dominant, and they were very, very hard to beat and to play against, because they were so physically strong, for one. We were always a young team. We were always regarded as Castlereagh was the young team, and we had a few older lads, maybe like John Clark and who else did we even have? Nigel Dignan, a few of those lads. Sean Brady wasn't even that much older than us, really, but it was a load of young lads with those few older lads, and it took us years to get to the level that we needed to get to. Probably for years we were ones being bullied in essence because we didn't have the physicality to be able to match the likes of the Cavan Gales teams. So with the result, we never really got close. If we're being honest with ourselves, 2011 we got to a final, and Cavan Gales absolutely blew us out of the water. The game was over after about 20 minutes, and that was just a realization. I remember after that thinking, "Oh, jeez, we're absolutely miles away." It's a hard place to be after getting to a final, thinking that you're even still miles away. But it again, as I said, 10 years probably or 8 or 9 years of hard work, and from everybody. It kind of the culture shift within the club changed, that you had to do your gym sessions, you had to work hard on the training pitch, you had to work hard, and with that, I suppose, came continuity, and we were getting consistently good. We were getting to semi-finals, we were getting to finals, and eventually, as you said, we got over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose when Donald came in and he got a good backroom team assembly, was it even just a case I've talked to lads in recent weeks winning championship and stuff, but was it even just a case of just instilling a belief in you that you actually can go on and win a championship? Because at the end of the day, you had yourself, you had Cian Mackey, you had your brother Enda, David Wright in midfield. That is a championship winning team when you're put together at the end of the day.
Yeah. We always felt that we were good enough to win it. Like when we had Tony Brady managing us, we had Michael Riley managing us. It didn't matter. We always felt that we were ready to win it. The one, I suppose, the big thing that Donald brought in was that he brought that professional setup. So we had Martin Corey, who's the Cavan coach, coaching us, and brought a bit of structure to our play, which was a big thing, I suppose, in our training sessions. And then we had the strength and conditioning coach along with that, Stephen Livers. So the setup was really, really professional, and I suppose the mentality of it was that you were preparing to win. And Donald was always of the opinion from the minute one he came in that we were ready to win a championship. We had the players, we were good enough, but nobody had as good players as us, and he kept instilling that in us. And I suppose eventually it sinks in that you are good enough to win it, and there is no reason why you can't win it. And I suppose that league final against Cavan Gales in 2018 was massive, because we were, I think, 5 down at half time, and come back to beat them in the league final, and that kind of just got the ball rolling in relation to, yes, we definitely are good enough, so because Cavan Gales were always the kingpins.
Yeah, and October 2018, that glorious day came around for you. Ronan, explain that feeling and just relief, I suppose.
Yeah, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah, you said, just relief. I remember as the final whistle went, I just looked up to the sky thinking, "Oh God, at last." And fair play to Pierce Smith from Cristalaw. He came straight to me. He said, "Ronan," he said, "you deserve this more than anybody."
Oh yeah.
I thought for a young man to say that to me was just it was such a lovely touch by him. And obviously he got his just rewards this year. But yeah, it was amazing. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and I suppose how it does look like a very kind of tight knit setup there in Ballys and stuff at Casteran, and how tight knit are you, Ronan? Because it definitely, to do back to back in any walk of life, in any sport, it does take a very good team ethos and bits and pieces. How tight knit is it up there, Ronan?
Yeah, it's fairly tight, right? Yeah, no, we always would have been, I suppose, even with our age group underage. I have a WhatsApp group now, and the majority of us are in it, from the team that won, let's say, under 12, 14, 16. So it was the way we were always brought up, and we kind of built that culture that it was all about all of us. It wasn't just one, or once you went into the dressing room, you were walking in there to get slagged, and that just came with the territory. Everyone was free reign. So once you have Cian Mackey in the dressing room, you're definitely going to be getting slagged. But it was enjoying our time together, but it was working hard together. I suppose that was the big thing that we started to do, and we really, really started to work really hard on the training pitch, and push each other. Yeah, push each other to get the best of each other, really. And it was the same in 2019. Donald was of the opinion that we left the Ulster behind us. He wasn't happy. I suppose it didn't help with the refereeing decisions. We got David Wright sent off for a dubious free, nearly, let alone a red card. And we played most of the game with 14 men. So he just felt that we had more to offer in relation to the Ulster Championship, and that's what he kept saying. He kept saying that I feel that you lads can do something in Ulster. I really, really feel it. So I suppose he was instilling that belief again in us. And when we went back and we were ready to go for 2019, it was just a matter of let's keep these standards high and let's not let it slip. So there's loads of lads within the group who don't let things slip. It's not just one or two. So it's great to have all those lads, and they'll, please God, continue to push Cavan to those highs by continually meeting standards.
Yeah, and very high standards at that. And I suppose when he's won that one in 2019, and probably we could both agree, probably the standard wasn't fantastic, but were you just so happy to get over the line and just get another Ollie Plunkett on the board?
Yeah. Look at 2016, we'd lost to Rammer in the final.
Yeah.
I had taught 11 of those lads came through with me in Virginia College. We'd won an Ulster under 14 title and Ulster under 16 title, and you never think
Flanagan was good. That's it.
you never think that they're going to come through and end up actually beating you in a senior championship final. But they were great lads, and they were no more than us in Castran. They worked really, really hard, those group of Rammer lads, and they deserved their win in 2016. So it was about, I suppose, getting over the line in 2019. As you said, we didn't play very well, but we did enough, and we were controlled enough. I never felt like we were going to lose it. Well, I never felt we were going to lose it. But it was just about doing enough to get over the line, and thanks be God we did, I suppose.
Yeah, and we can't let it go without talking about Cavan's fantastic Ulster Championship success in 2020, Ronan. And look, you like myself, no one else had much to do during the lockdown and bits and pieces of the games at the weekend. It was fantastic. What did you make of the whole journey, Ronan? It was just phenomenal stuff, really.
It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I suppose a little bit closer than everybody else in that I'm married to Raymond's sister. So it was really, really special. Yeah, it was brilliant, just brilliant. And he puts in unbelievable work. It's great to see him to get in that Ulster medal and to captain the team. So no more than I said in 2015, 2013, that group of lads were ready to win it. And they showed that, I suppose, by getting to two finals back to back. And they were full value for the win against Donegal. Against Down and against Monaghan, you definitely question it at half time, thinking, where are we at? Where are we going? But the Monaghan game, the first half wasn't that bad. Second half was really, really good, and then obviously extra time. The Down game was, I thought the first half they were all over the place. They were shambles really, and then they turned the switch and they started to dominate around midfield, and Down looked a shambles. So it was just brilliant. It was a roller coaster. They definitely shortened our winter. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and the Ulster final was just amazing. It's just live long in the memory. Thanks be to God.
Yeah, and I suppose a lot of people can be remarking on this, but I don't know. I just feel that I know. Okay, we had a lot of players leaving in the past, but I just felt in 2020 we just had a really good core group of lads that just wanted to throw on the Cavan jersey and just wanted to be there and got over the line, and there was no kind of individuals. Like, say we had Darren McVeety and Conor Moyne, the pair of boys at the panel, but we know I don't think massive individuals. I know Tomas Gallagher was class, but it was a really good team effort. If that makes any sense, Ronan.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. It was brilliant. And especially the Ulster final epitomised that, and that every single man worked so hard. And as I said prior, work rate is the key, really. In the training pitch and in the gym and on the actual pitch itself, you have to work extremely hard to be successful. And to be fair to the lads in 2019, the Ulster final, it just got away from them. Donegal played really, really well that day, and they kind of, I suppose, we learned from it. They pinned us in our kick out, and just it wasn't as if the lads didn't work hard. And I don't think Cavan teams can ever be blamed for, well, that I've been aware of, not working hard. It's learning from, I suppose, the errors and the mistakes that you make in the games that go by, and then hopefully getting the chance to rectify those mistakes at that level again. And I felt that the Donegal game last year, there was so much learning from it, massive learning from it, and it took a big hit of their confidence, because you seen against Tyrone, then they got wiped. But then to come back and realize, okay, this is what we need to do to get to that level. This is how we do it. And as you said, a core group of lads who were really willing to push that group onwards. And it was evident that there was a really, really strong core in that Cavan group. And brilliant. Fair play to them.
Yeah, and I suppose we can touch on Mickey Graham, the man at the helm of it all, I suppose. And you probably would have played against and with Mickey Graham over the years, Ronan. What kind of a guy is he? Like, he's an absolute gent in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't know that much about Mickey apart from we used to meet him for breakfast myself and Nicholas Walsh back when I was doing the cool camps, and he was a sound fella then.
My meet with Boyle Sports, is it?
No, I wouldn't. I know. No, he enjoyed the breakfast and yeah, he's always good bit of crack. But no, he's a proven winner. He's won with Molnocta. Now he's won with Cavan, and no more than what Terry did, it's getting the mentality in Cavan that we can win and that standards need to be met in order to get that win. And I think I know from listening to Raymond and from even I met Mickey actually just before Christmas. They are doing that, and once you're doing that, you will be close to the top table, and that's all we can expect out of Cavan is to be close to the top table and be competitive against those big teams all the time, not just once every so often.
Yeah. And did you feel, say, when we did get over the line against Donegal, did you kind of think to yourself, I know you're dead, you're gone a couple of years, but did you kind of think, oh God, wouldn't it just been fantastic to win one?
Oh, I always wanted to win one, John. Not gonna lie to you, definitely always wanted to win one, but no, I felt like I was gone from it. I had done my stint, and I was just absolutely delighted for Raymond and the lads to get over the line. And no, I was there at Bethany Park, celebrating like every other sport was. It's just brilliant day.
Yeah. I suppose, Ronan, like it's like anything in life. There's a life outside of football, and we wish to always be healthy as possibly can, and there's ups and downs. But you kind of remarked on the sickness you had over the years, Ronan, and do you want to even touch on that?
Yeah. I had testicular cancer back in the end of 2013. I actually trained with Cavan in the preparation for 2014, and I got sick. And Terry Highland said to me, "Gee, I was only have to come back from Vegas." He said to me, "Geez, Ronan, Vegas went hard on you," because I would never be getting sick. And a week later, then I got diagnosed with testicular cancer. So, it probably was some way linked. God knows, I don't know. But no, I got my treatment. I got it removed. Actually, that controversial doctor who was slating Mayo, Dr. Dave Hickey, he was my surgeon. Brilliant man, lovely man. And yeah, everything. Thanks to Doc Carlin actually in Cavan. He was so helpful. Got me straight in, and I got it removed really quickly. And thanks be to God, I didn't have to take any chemo or anything. Just obviously had to let the wound heal, and I'm still getting checks and will continue, I suppose, for another while yet. But there's definitely life after testicular cancer, and it's all been great. It's been brilliant. Like we three kids since too, so
you can't complain. You're winning. You're winning.
Another one seems to be working anyhow.
We've seen Oisin Kernan as well. He's had a similar story to you as well, Ronan. Same club mates and bits and pieces. But how important is, I suppose, like, and obviously when you heard about the news and you got the news that you had it, like, how important is a good mentality and like a positive kind of output, I suppose, Ronan? Because look, at the end of the day, a lot's going to be limited for you. You can't really play much football. Like, so how important was, I suppose, even to have a good people around you, Ronan?
Yeah, and you only appreciate that in hindsight, to be honest with you, John. I obviously had. At the time, I was just thinking, I'll be fine, I'll be grand. It's only a matter of getting through this and getting back on the training pitch and getting back to supposed to normal life. And I had a brilliant, I still have, thanks be to God, a brilliant family, a brilliant wife. Yeah, no, I've been really, really lucky. Good club support around me. Yeah, no, it's been great. And I suppose Hushin had the same, which is, and he suppose he had me to fall back on if he needed any questions to be answered, or as best I could anyway. But no, the club has been brilliant, and I've been lucky enough to have a really good family and lots of support.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose who, like, over the years in GC, you would have played with and played against some unbelievable players. But who would be the best player you played with over the years, Ronan?
It'd have to be Keane. And maybe I'm biased. I used to, when anyone ever asked me that question, I would always have said Keane. I'd never say it to him. He's probably going to hear this now, but yeah, he was just a fantastic talent, and his awareness is unbelievable. His timing on the ball, he always felt like he had so much time on the ball. He's so strong. You wouldn't think it because he's quite small, but he's so strong. He's low center of gravity. Obviously, his acceleration, And then his ball work, he was so controlled, having the ball in hand. I remember back on under 16 training at club level, and I was marking him, and I said, I don't know, he made some remark about scoring or whatever, and I said, Mac, you won't be scoring today. And he goes, of course I'll be scoring, because
with 10 points.
He's a super confident kind of fella. And I said, you won't. So he pulled a dummy on me, and he had me bet pretty much, but I came hurtling out of nowhere to block with one hand, and we were playing Crosslaw, I think it was the final, and I ended up nearly missing it over because I blocked with one arm and I ended up damaging the tendons in my elbow, trying to prove that he wasn't as good as he thought he was, even though he is, unfortunately.
Yeah. And who would be the best player you played against there?
I suppose I played with him and against him, and I've always had a great time for him. Is David Kelly from Sligo. So we would have been DCU together, and then I had to mark him actually once he came off the bench for Sligo in a league game. I remember thinking, I marked him obviously in training with DCU as well a few times. He's like Keane, he's very much loads of time on the ball. He's light and fast, low centre of gravity. Yeah, he's a brilliant player, and he had brilliant vision, which was one like, and he was such a selfless player. Always gave the ball to, like, as a corner forward to the best man, lad coming who made the hard one coming off the full forward. He would always give you the ball, and I always made those long busting runs to win the ball as a centre forward. When I was playing in 2010, it was brilliant to look inside and see Dave, because sure he'd made so many runs, he'd 5 or 10 yards of space all the time, and he was always that outlet for a kick pass. He's a brilliant player.
Yeah. And geez, like, look, unfortunately, it'll go down in Cavan folklore, and it probably you'd still be kind of wondering what or who or why. But I was looking at Sports File a couple of months ago about Cavan pictures and stuff. But I suppose your good friend Shawnee, when he came on for Kildare against yourself, and I think you had to pick him up. What was that whole experience like, Ronan?
Yeah, weird, to be honest. I was playing wing half forward, and Shawnee come on the pitch, and the roar went up from the Kildare fans, and the minute he come on, Anthony roared into me to go straight back to pick him up. Yeah, like I didn't like it, to be honest. I didn't like having to mark him. I'd definitely preferred him to be on my team. But look, those things happen. Sometimes people make those decisions in life, and he came back since, and he's played for Cavan. So look, no, unfortunately, those things happen, and we had to play against each other in that instance. But such is life.
Yeah, no, I had to laugh at the picture because I think you're shaking his hand and you're like, Jesus, what's going on here? You're probably as confused as anyone, really. But yeah, and I suppose a good football and family there as well, Ronan. Your brother ended playing alongside you. Well, I suppose you're finito now, but Enda will play for another couple of years, I suppose. What was it like to play with Enda over the years? I suppose you were the master and he was the apprentice.
Yeah, as I say, I have another brother, Fergal, as well, and he would have played us midfield and full forward at different times. So it was lovely. The three of us actually played together in the second final, the Rammer final, yeah. And Ferg was midfield that day. So it was great, just brilliant to win, I suppose, with the three of us. We grew up watching Peter and Michael and Larry as three brothers, and I always thought, geez, wouldn't it be lovely for the three of us to be playing? Now, obviously, they were all playing for Knockbride and for Cavan together. We three of us never got playing together for Cavan. We all played at different parts, different times, but never together. But it's still lovely to win, I suppose, with my two brothers, and yeah, it was just brilliant feeling. Yeah,
and the future's a good hands in Castlerahan with End and Fergus, you say, and the current product at the minute, the Dubs are completely dominant. Unfortunately, Ronan, I can't see that change for a couple of years. What's the opinion on it? I'm presuming you casted a good eye in the 2020 All-Ireland final.
Yeah, I would, like, from playing in DCU, I would have come across a lot of the Dublin lads, played with them, and to be honest, they're no better than the rest of us. But to me, the biggest difference, as I said at the start, is the conditioning level that they're in. Yeah. So, and obviously the organisation that kind of goes hand in hand. You see the backroom team they have, but I think when teams get to the strength and conditioning level that they are at, then you have a great chance of beating them. And Mayo showed that you can actually come close to beating them if you can match them physically, both in strength and in the running ability. And Cavan are getting there. Cavan are definitely getting there. And teams, if they want to beat Dublin, are going to have to get there. I think that's why Kerry have struggled so much I think Kerry have the footballers, but I don't think they have the strength and conditioning to match the Dublin's athleticism. And Dublin seem to always kind of pull away from them, even though Kerry have lovely footballers. But it's getting that level first, and then getting I suppose the organisation and the football after that.
Yeah, and what's your opinion? Kind of say, like, okay, fair enough, the funds are a bit ridiculous at the minute, and Dublin are getting the majority of them, but like, what's your opinion on it all? Because like I'd be of the opinion that you don't, like Conor Callan's goal in the final, money doesn't buy that. Work rate, you can't buy that kind of crack. Like, what's your opinion on that? And I suppose everyone kind of saying, "Oh, geez, split Dublin in two," or like, what? Where's your head at regarding all that?
Yeah, well, there's an argument I think for and against. To be honest, I think what you're saying there is right, that work rate, you can't buy work rate. But you can definitely buy a strength and conditioning coach, which we have done, who's going to be a permanent fixture within Cavan, and that will improve the level of our players. And I could see it this year at the senior championship level in Castleton. We hadn't seen a gym in because of COVID. We hadn't seen a gym in nearly a year, and you come up against Cavan senior players, and you would see it a mile away the condition them lads were in. Like they just stood out from the crowd. Every time you played against a county player, you would know it. So that is the start. And I think every county, if they had that basis, a permanent strength and conditioning coach, no matter who the manager was, and they were all kind of coming off the one pool and they all had the same ideas, it would definitely level the playing field a little bit. And it'd go towards, I suppose, getting everyone back to being competitive.
Yeah. I suppose, Ronan, if you were to start all over again, and I suppose everyone always says trophies and maybe the losses a bit space, but if there's would you change anything about your kind of maybe over the years playing for Cavan, or what would you change, or were you happy the way it all kind of turned out, or would you really like to tag on an Ulster, I suppose?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'd just love to have won an Ulster title with Cavan. Apart from that, no, I have no regrets. I absolutely loved both playing with Cavan, the lads you meet up with, the hard trainings, the club lads we met up with. I suppose we were so lucky within the club to win those championships. Lucky then with DCU then to win it and meet such good lads as well, and supposed to be exposed to different levels of training in DCU. Yeah, no, I've been extremely lucky. Look, if I'm only missing an Ulster title out of my bag and I'm walking away from football, I'm pretty happy, to be honest with
you. Yeah, and last but not least, if there's any kind of young lads watching, or that kind of crack around Cavan or bit spaces, what advice would you give to a young lad starting off, I suppose?
Yeah, it's just to keep improving and keep trying to learn. You're always improving. If I did go back in 2021, I definitely know there's definitely areas of my game that I need to improve on. And I think even the best players, even I spoke about Keane, been really, really good. There's areas of his game that he needs to improve on. So there's always learning, and that's the biggest thing. If you're not willing to learn, or you think you have it all, you're wasting your time really, because every day should be a learning day and a day to get better. And if you have that attitude, doesn't matter kind of what level of skill you have, you will get very, very close to the top. Obviously, if you're more skilled and you have that attitude, you're definitely going to get to the top. So it's just about really, really working hard and listening and always trying to learn.
Yeah, geez, that's fairly solid advice now. Ronan Flanagan, thanks a million for joining us on the JMac Podcast this week. That'll be shared on Twitter, Facebook, absolutely everywhere. You've been very good with your time, and thanks very much, Ronan. I much appreciate it.
No problem at all, John. No problem. Best of luck with your podcast.
Thanks very much. Thank you.